welcome to this conversation about renewing the vision. And I'm so fortunate. I'm so excited, as I was counting the gang before, to be with this amazing group of people who, for the past, I would say like 5 Mondays or so, have literally given up their evenings to go back and forth with Juan and work as a group and think through scenarios and challenges and things that happens in everyday life in ministry, and maybe even everyday life, just period. So with me today are some amazing folks, and I'm actually going to have them introduce themselves and where they're coming from. So I'm just gonna like go through the gallery of people, and why don't we start with Martha? Introduce yourself and where are you from?
Hi, I'm Martha. I'm from Ecuador. I was born in Ecuador. I came to this country 21 years ago, actually. Now in September, it's gonna be 22. I'm a single mother of a teenager, and I think that's the reason why I'm here. I tried, and actually, especially Juan and you have been trying to pull me every time to go to the church and help you and everything. And I never wanted for some reason, but this time, that Sunday evening when Juan called to me, as soon as he say youth, I say, bingo, this is me. Because I am in the middle of everything trying to understand my child, why she doesn't want to go to church again like with me, like she used to. And it has been a difficult path, but that's the reason I'm here, and I'm very happy.
Awesome. Francis?
I'm Francis. I'm from the Boogie Down Bronx. But what? I found Jesus in the Bronx.
Yes, that she is.
No, I'm you made me laugh. Okay, no, but I have a ministry. I also a part of my church is St. Francis de Chantal. I'm part of a Spanish prayer group, adult prayer group. I was a former youth leader for like about, I want to say 15 years around there in 2 different churches. So I have experience in youth ministry, but again, like Martha was saying about Juan was tugging at my door. He was like, I think you'll like this. I think you'll find this interesting, and I was like, you know what? I have to obey Jesus, and okay, do what you want. Do what you want, Jesus. But I'm so happy to be here. And again, my name is Francis. I'm here to serve God and to serve all of you. Thanks for coming.
Natalie?
My name is Natalie, and I'm in Annapolis, Maryland. I work for St. Mary's Church, which is in downtown Annapolis, and our mission church, which is called St. John Newman Parish. And this is, this is my 8th year in youth ministry. And I'm in charge of youth ministry here at the parish, as well as in adult ministry. And I've also worked with campus ministry and children's ministry as well before in the past. So I have lots of different experiences, but this experience was like, it was great. It was awesome. It was really great. It shows you the value of community, and it really shows you that, we're not supposed to do things by ourselves, because all of our meetings that we were in together, everybody had different ideas, but we all came together to work on it. And it was really invaluable to me to really have that be like a reminder. So it was really awesome to work with this wonderful group of people. And Juan and I met on Facebook in a youth ministry group. And I was coming to New York City to visit a friend of mine. And I was like, this guy that I know from this Facebook group, he lives in New York City. I'll see if he's around. He wants to get coffee. We can talk about youth ministry. And I like sent him a Facebook message while I was on the train. And he was like, coffee tomorrow morning. See you there. Like there was no, yes, we're meeting. There was no question, nothing. We sat in the Starbucks for hours and just talked about ministry and our lives and the church and working for the church and the joys that come with that, the struggles that come with that. And it was really wonderful to have that conversation and know that I really had like someone who had my back and was wanting to see me grow in different ways. He's been asking me for years, like, hey, are you writing everything down that you're doing? And I'm like, no, I'm not. But, his persistence in just really making sure he checks in and how's it going? How's ministry? How are you? That's been really awesome as well. So it's wonderful to be here, and it was awesome to be part of this group. So thank you.
So, Iris.
Hi everyone, I'm Iris Flores. I have been blessed to be part of this amazing group of people, you know, this amazing team that got together, you know, by the works of the Holy Spirit. I have been DRE, and my latest adventure was and has been with youth ministry, and it's been great. Now, I met Juan while I was, you know, starting out, when I was starting out with youth ministry, and like Natalie said, you know, Juan is just yes, yes kind of person. You know, anything you ask him, yes. Anything, you know, you come to, yes, he has it ready for you. He gives you advice. So, you know, working, you know, and seeing that this, you know, that this project was taking place, I immediately wanted to, you know, jump on it, because I feel like there's never too much information you can have, especially when it comes to ministry. And when you're investing on learning something new, investing time in learning something new, I feel like you never overinvest. You know, every time, you know, every investment in time that you do for ministry is always a great investment. So I'm glad I did it, because, you know, the team, this team right here, we worked so well together. None of us, you know, knew each other, but we worked so well. We made it happen. It was fun.
That's true.
They're dynamic. They're unbelievable. And I'm glad I met each and every one of them. So thank you guys.
Amen.
Thank you.
Last but certainly not least, Joseph.
Well, my name is Joseph Jean-Pierre Pochonat,
Oh boy.
and I am a chef, a full time, and the
Awesome. Go, Joey.
coming in, grew up in Queens, grew up in the parish of St. John Vianney Parish. Met Juan, I would say about 4 or 5 years ago, and he helped me get started with a youth group and youth ministry at St. John Vianney 4 years ago. We celebrated our 4-year anniversary of the Cure August 4th this month. And I knew about this program through 2 members of the youth group that was attending the program a couple years ago. And I was able to catch the tail end of some of the meetings. So I kind of got a gist of what Renew the Vision was. But actually, I learned a lot more through those 2 students, and being able to see how he, you know, works firsthand at Queen of Angels and trying to imply it at St. John Vianney was, well, actually going through this program now with you guys was a huge eye opener. And it was like, oh, okay, that's why he does this, and this is why he does that. So this has probably been, you know, the greatest blessing this year that's happened, being able to come with a group of strangers and be able to get things done, especially for, you know, our parish of our imaginary parish of Transfiguration, but also to do it to our parishes that we work for. So thank you for having us, and it's been amazing.
And thank you, everybody. And there's a lot of key things that you guys said when you were introducing yourselves that I definitely want to get back into. But I wanted to first explain, especially for those that are listening or that are viewing this in Facebook Live, what is Renewing the Vision, and why are we talking about it, and what's the deal, right? Well, Renewing the Vision is this document that was begun in 1976. And it was first called A Vision to Youth Ministry, or A Vision of Youth Ministry, excuse me. And it was then reissued as Renewing the Vision, and it responds to these challenges and opportunities for us as a church to serve our people, especially our youth. And it's kind of like almost like a blueprint that is meant to just simply for us to take it and just use it to develop effective ministry with youth and even young adults. So document itself has these 3 goals. The first goal is renewing the vision, is to empower young people to live as disciples of Jesus Christ in our world today. Empowerment, right? The second goal is to draw young people to responsible participation in the life, mission, and work of the Catholic faith community. And lastly, to foster the total personal and spiritual growth of each young person. And there are some that may say, well, you know, that was written so long ago, is it really relevant? Or some may say, well, this is only for youth ministry, I'm a catechist, or I'm a lector. But this document, and I can tell you this because as many of you know, I've been a youth minister, I'm a catechist, I'm a lector, I teach faith formation and leadership development in some of the dioceses around here. This is a blueprint that, while it's presented for youth and young adults, it could be a blueprint for all of us, even to do things with our own personal vocation and growth, not just as youth ministers. So one of the first things that we learn when we read this document is that we're not alone, that we are a church, and as a church, we're a community. And that's some of the points that the people that we just heard from did comment. And I think I want to start off with just asking each and every one of you, what were your thoughts of, you know, when you were initially invited to participate in this Renewing the Vision experience? Like, what were your thoughts when Juan harassed you to participate in Renew the Vision? Like, what did you think? Anyone can jump in. What were your thoughts when Juan harassed you?
I think that the first thing that I thought of was, you know, even though, you know, the document came out, you know, a while ago, I think the first thing that I thought was how refreshing, you know, to go over the document and read, you know, everything that the document goes over. And, you know, after having read it the first time, and, you know, after a few years and now having experienced ministry at some level, it makes more sense now. That was my, you know, hope coming in, that the document would give me a new sense. It would, you know, come to light in a deeper way than when I first read it or when it first came out. And it definitely did that for me. You know, it combined with, you know, ministry experience and you know, everything that I've already lived through by being in ministry, it became alive in a different way. So to jump on the opportunity, you know, to embark on this mission of renew your mission, your vision, was definitely a great adventure that I feel we went on.
Yeah, I also, like, as for me, when Juan just presented this to me, I was like, you know what, I'm not in youth ministry anymore, but I do preach God's word wherever they tell me, in retreats and different ministries. So I was like, you know what, you always want to learn. You always willing to learn new things. Like, what can I have done? Maybe, like, as I reflect as my years in youth ministry, I could be able to say, hey, you know what? Wow, there's certain things that in this crazy Renew Your Vision, you know, this craziness, it gave me such, like, insight, like things that I've never thought of. And I'm a teacher, I'm a preschool teacher. And I'm gonna use this little revision in my little kids or something like that. Maybe put some life into them too, you know? Because I love my kids. I love it a lot. But I'm sorry, I'm sidetracking. But what I mean is that it really gave me new insight. It helped me to also my challenges as a person, as an individual, as a person that doesn't like to be lead of anything. You know, I don't like to, it gets me nervous. And then when my team, I'm not mentioning it in front of me, they're like, Francis, you know, do this. And I'm like, okay, but I really don't want to do this. Not the leader, you know, and it forced me, this revision forced me to also get out my box, my comfort zone, help me to see things in a different light, help me to figure out things that I could have connected more, or I should have used more. So it's something that I appreciate, and something that I will not only, I will use it, like you had said, Bertha, in your life, in other ministries, and whatever we have to do in this life, whatever God guides us to, that I could use this same kind of tools, these tools that can help me foster my ministry as a single person, as a family person, and vice versa. But yeah, thanks.
You know, when Juan called me the night before the project started, he called me on Sunday around 9. I was like, excuse me? So I didn't think. So when he said, Marta, listen, I want to invite you to this and that and here and there. And I go, okay, I just heard the word renew. And that was the only thing that did click on me, because it's something that I have been thinking about it since my daughter told me, like I said before, the church is not for me. And I think I saw it because I don't feel it. I don't feel anything when the father talk. I don't feel the message. I don't listen anything, and none of us were doing it. So when Juan told me that word, when he said renew the vision, immediately came, yes, just something good has to come out from this. And mind you, it took me really out of my comfort zone. I'm not a really open mind talking person, you know, willing to deal with people that I don't know. But it was such a weird and beautiful experience, because I found people that I never expected that we would get along. He even tell us, you guys are gonna fight. And no, we never did, because somehow our brains, we were like, here we are. And we work it out somehow, thank God, pretty good. I think the Holy Spirit was there every single second of our meetings. Yeah. Thank God. And that was the first thing I did. I mean, the first day that we got together, I'm like, okay, Holy Spirit, I need you here.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because otherwise I'm not going to make it, but I need you here. So you brought me here is for a reason. So I really believe that it's not old. It could be from a document from 1970, from 1900, from 1800. Renew is something that we have to do every single day in our lives. Mm-hmm. We cannot get steady. I mean, everything is changing, life change. Every day is not the same like the one yesterday. And especially for our kids. We as a grown-up, we change every day. Imagine our kids. So somehow the church has to renew no matter what, and the priest has to open to that. There are things that are never going to change, of course. Our Jesus is going to be our Jesus no matter what, here or 2,000 years later, right? But the way that we talk to our kids, the way that the church see our kids, they need to be prepared since the beginning, since they are born. We cannot tell a teenager, you are not going to read in our church. You are not going to be part of it. So you can do this, but you are too old to do that, but you are too young to do that. It's not like that. Mm-hmm. So I think that is one of the reasons that really, really got me hooked up with this. It hooked me up with this the first day. And I was thinking maybe I might drop off this. But the first day, actually, I got engaged so much, and then I wanted more. And I think it's just a little door open. And it's just a little, I mean, it's open a little bit only. So we need to open it way more. Way more.
We got to bust it out.
Yeah.
I do reflect the first night you guys met. Like I said, I've I've been listening into your meetings as I'm working in the back, answering emails from frantic freshmen. And I remember that, like, the group, you guys sort of gelled so naturally together. It was not like that weird, awkward feeling that everybody gets where it's like, no, you talk, no, but you talk. Like, everybody just jumped into it. And I was very surprised just how comfortable you all were with each other, how comfortable you threw Frances under the bus and made her a leader. I was like, well done. Yeah,
I think has a lot to do that each of us has a different experience and different backgrounds.
Yeah, definitely. And I actually, one of the follow-up questions, and I want to open it to the ones that didn't answer that first question, is being that this group was so diverse, how did it put into perspective you thinking about your gifts and what you have to offer in this experience? I see Natalie's face going.
That's a good question. My first thought was, do you want me to answer this question or the previous question?
No, this question.
This question. Okay, thank you so much. Bertha, you're amazing. So I think, what Juan also called me on Sunday night when he was like, it starts tomorrow or whatever. And then he was like, oh, if you're going to go on vacation, plan your vacation around this class. Like, he was like, make sure you're like devoted. And I was like, oh my gosh, like, because we were in the midst of planning our year in faith formation and youth ministry and confirmation and sacrament prep and everything. We're in the midst of doing that. And my head has been spinning, just trying to figure out what like restrictions and regulations and, like, what are we allowed to do, what are we not allowed to do. And so he's like, I got a group of people coming together. It's going to be great. I'll see you there. Like, there was not a real option, which is Juan to a T, because he just like, but he also makes you think you want to do it. Like, it's your idea. I've always wanted to do this.
That's how we come to marrying him.
Which wow, Bertha. But I think coming together with this group of people, I was nervous at first. And I was like, I have no idea what to expect. I have no idea who's going to be on this call. Are they all going to be youth ministers? Are they all going to work for the church? Are they going to be people of different ages? Are they all going to be young adults like me? I have no idea. And coming together, and we're all introducing ourselves. And Martha's like, I work for the pharmacy, and I owned my own business. And Frances is like, I'm a teacher. Joe was like, I'm a chef. And I was like, this is wild. Like, I was so fascinated by the fact that Juan had pulled us all from very differing backgrounds. And we had all come together for this class to do the same exact thing and work together as a group. And my first thought was, well, am I the only one that works for the church? Like, I have like all this. And he was, I think I'm thinking to myself, like, I actually thought this. I was like, I don't know what these experiences of these people are like within the church. Like, have they done youth ministry? Have they been like, peer leaders or whatever? Are they lectors? Are they, involved in different things? And my first thought was like, am I in the right group? Like, maybe I shouldn't be here because like I have like a very different viewpoint. Like actually working for the church and being in that office and not going to a different office and then like having this as like a secondary thing that I do. And my immediate, like our very first night together, like you're saying, Bertha, like it was just like immediately we all kind of came together and everyone's experiences in their own personal lives, in their own vocations. Some of us are parents, some of us are not parents, some of us live with our families, some of us live alone. Some of us work multiple jobs. Some of us have only one job. All of that really, I think, fed our discussions. And I think also, too, it fed our openness to listen to someone else with a different experience and not just like kind of get tunnel vision and think, well, like if I had thought to myself, well, I work for the church, so I should be the leader of this group. I did not want to be the leader of this group at all. I am 100% so glad that
Nobody
I
won.
voted for Francis.
That's why we throw Francis
was
on
outnumbered
We
by everybody
kind of
else who also voted for Francis, and if Francis became the leader.
Oh yeah, Francis is good.
You know, but all of those different experiences, different backgrounds, different vocations, different stages that we're all at in our lives, that really, I think, really informed all of our discussions and allowed us to listen to when, like, Iris or Martha was like, you know, when I'm thinking about this in business, this is what it looks like. Or Joey, when he's like, you know, when you work with different people, you have to be able to recognize this. You know, it was really great to hear, because if we were all youth ministers, like people who would solely work for the church as like the director of youth ministry, I'm not gonna lie, I don't know how well this would have gone. Because people who in youth ministry, they have very specific, you know, generally very specific personalities, and they have very specific strengths that,
the
you know,
church in
but
general.
this was like everyone's strength matched someone else's weakness. And it really allowed us, I think, to work together well as a team. And it helped me broaden my own horizons about the fact that, you know, people don't have to be a parent to be involved in youth ministry. They don't have to, you know, have a child to be involved in youth ministry. They don't have to, you know, be a teacher or have these different experiences to be involved in youth ministry. God uses all kinds of people. It takes all kinds. And so if we're a little more open with that, imagine the type of teams we can form with different people.
Awesome. Joseph, what is your take? How did you react? What did you think that your gifts were bringing to the table?
Well, I'm honestly blessed to come from a parish that's very diverse, and being one of the handful of African Americans, part of an Asian community, and having to integrate myself into the community. Well, growing up in the church, really growing up in St. John Vianney helped, but trying to understand, you know, where people were coming from, and, you know, trying to comprehend, it was a lot, you know, but, you know, having the goal in mind, like coming together just for the church, just for St. John Vianney, you know, it made it a little bit easier to work with, you know, different people. And especially coming from a restaurant background, you know, you get all types of people back there. And, you know, you want to make sure that everyone goes out alive. So it's kind of like, you know, it's that made it easier for me to work with anyone, honestly. But I'm glad it was this group here, because one, there are no knives or fire around, and two, you know, everyone was just open-minded and, you know, wanted to know more about Renew the Vision, that their main vision, or our main vision, was to get things done and to get things done right. And one of the most important things I think Juan said in the beginning is, whatever you went through before this doesn't matter, you know? So it was like we came in with a clear conscience and was like, okay, how do we get this done? And we all had that same goal. So it was easy to come together. It was easy to listen to each other. And it was easy to come up with the conclusion after every activity. And honestly, I don't know if everyone else feels this way. Like, it felt like a breeze, you know, coming up with a conclusion, no matter how long it took us. You know what I mean? So it was great, to be honest.
And I think that point that Joseph just touched upon, that one of the things which I found that was to be one of the most important pieces, is to kind of walk into this experience sort of leaving behind what your conceptions are of what youth ministry is, or whatever great experience or horrible experience you've had in working in ministry, or even your own experience at home with your children or with your family, to kind of leave that aside and walk in there with sort of like not knowing anything. I think that was key, and I'm happy that Joey brought that up, because part of the experience that Juan put you guys through were these scenarios. And I know that, and believe me, these scenarios were nothing compared to some of the craziest ones that he has done in the past. So I think that he actually tamed himself for this. But it was very interesting because even in reading the scenarios and seeing what he was putting you guys through, and I'm sure that there were times that maybe some of you might have been almost triggered by some of the things that he would bring up. You know, this may have been also something that could have brought you to think about some of those negative things that either you're going through now or you had gone through before. How do you think these scenarios prepared you or put everything into perspective for you in terms of your own personal experience in ministry? And I want to hear from everybody here. Not everybody at the same time.
Not to make the same mistake again. That Miss Green, huh? Everyone has a Miss Green, you know.
Oh yeah.
And I think that Miss Green definitely brought back a past experience or a current experience for all of us. And you know, that's maybe one of the things that we brought back from the past into the group. And we know how much a Miss Green can, you know, torment the plan, especially if something's not especially if we have a plan. Well, for me, having a plan in your mind and not communicating that fully throughout the whole parish, right? And how easy you know, a situation like that could, you know, whirlwind the whole parish. And yeah, that Miss Green, man, this is actually bringing me back.
For the people that are watching us that may not know, they're probably thinking, okay, who is Miss Green?
Who's Miss Green?
What did she do? And did she die? So
Or do we kill her?
Handle her. Joseph, why don't you remind us, but also tell people out there who Miss Green was.
All right, so Miss Green was brought to us by our pastor, Father Ernesto, as someone that was going to come in and help form our youth ministry. She was to us described as an addition to us, and it turned out that Miss Green had other plans, and Miss Green's plans had nothing to do too much with what our plans as a parish and youth ministry was, you know, trying to bring forth to our parish. And Miss Green sounded like she had a little bit of a tough side to her with the way she was giving us her directives, right? And you know, we kind of, you know, stepped back and was like, wait a minute, this has nothing to do with, you know, light, which was our logo or our phrase, and nothing to do with transfiguration. So how can we, you know, let you tell us what to do when we're trying to figure out what's best for our parish? And as you know, it was a crazy situation. And yeah, that was Miss Green. Miss Green is special to us, and she has a special place in all of our hearts and our minds. And we continue to pray for Miss Green. And we love you, Miss Green. We hope not to see you in part 2 or part 3 or part 20 for that matter. And yeah, just keep your blessings, Miss Green. We love you.
Bless her heart.
Amen.
Okay. Anyone else? How do these scenarios may have triggered or may have made you reflect on past or even current experiences?
You know, for me, it was kind of a little bit funny when it comes to Mrs. Green. Even Juan was laughing on me because he said, "You get mad." They go, "Yeah, of course I get mad." They go, "I did," because she was kind of rude when we say no to whatever her actions were. And somehow it just brought up whatever I am in real life, you know? So I'm the kind of human being that I think I mean, if I'm engaged to something and I'm compromised with something, I had to finish that. I cannot focus in 2, 3 things at a time. If I want to do 100% of me, I had to focus on that situation. So when we say no, it's not because we were rude, it's not because we didn't want to help, it's because, first of all, we have to deal with whatever we are compromised with. So, and I always think, okay, I'm so sorry, but if you don't understand and you took a decision to continue, it's your problem. What can I do? So you try to do it the way that you solve, and we will keep doing whatever we have to do for the sake of our parish, because we have to, we have to keep working with whatever we started first before, and also we were learning too, right? So before to engage to something else. So it really was like a kind of made me to realize like, oh my God, yes, I will be the one jumping. Also another situation when the one of the team person in the team didn't show up, and I said right away, don't worry, I will go for it. I will look for it. I will go to, I will call him. He didn't answer. I will go there. Don't worry. So I was the one chasing, and I was like, yeah, I will do it. So then, yes, after that, I was like, oh my God, yes, that's me. So it was kind of tough. Yeah.
You go, girl.
I go there, yes.
Got it done.
Fortunate. Fortunate. So.
And I think those kind of scenarios, we actually see them. It wasn't a standalone make-believe sort of situation. We do encounter people like this, both in
I'm sorry.
church and in in real life, in every place where we work. And it's the coming together as a team. We were able to stand on our ground and see where our vision was going. We talked amongst ourselves, and it could have been very easy to derail from where we were heading. It would have been very easy to try to accommodate, in quotes, the other person, like Miss Green, and what she wanted. But if we had done that, then we wouldn't have achieved what we needed to get done and what we were focusing on. So it was, I think, a combination of keeping our eyes focused and our attention focused on what we wanted to accomplish, seeing where we cannot take any more that will shift our priorities, and being able to stay on path and not be fearful of what the other person is going to think or say, because we continued on our path, on the path that we needed, and getting done the things we needed to get done. So I think it was very good to see, and it was good to live through that experience. And we did it together. All of us had each other, and I think that one of the things I loved the most about this was that it actually felt like we had each other's backs. It never felt, when it's easy when you go into ministry and when you're working and actually hands-on and doing things, it's very easy to be left alone, to be left like, okay, that's your thing and you do your own thing. And although you ask for support, you don't get it or don't receive it. It's very important to work as a team. And I think that one of the things that I felt through this project and this mission was that we had each other's backs. And that's as it should be when we work in ministry, when we are at church, regardless of which church, regardless of which diocese, we should be felt and we should feel and make everyone feel like we have each other's backs. So I think that's one of the greatest takeaways that I have from this. Thank you, Ms. Green.
That Ms. Green. Well, I guess every pain has a blessing.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So Natalie and Frances, want to hear from the two of you.
Yeah, thank you, Frances. She's like, you go. For me, having worked in the church, I've had a number of different experiences. And some of the scenarios, so I told the group one night, I was like, guys, I feel like we're in an escape room. And Juan is like sending us these random cryptic text messages at 11 p.m. Some of them have clues in them. Some of them don't. Our assignments have clues in them. It was, yeah. So it definitely, one part of it really like required you to read between the lines and determine, what's actually the important information here, which can be very beneficial in any situation, like recognizing in an email or in a note or a message or a conversation, what are the key components of this? What do I need to focus on? Because all the other stuff, all the feelings and like the sass and the, Miss Green, all that extra stuff can get in the way and like really cloud you from seeing what you're supposed to do and like recognizing the goal ahead of you and staying on task and on focus. And so like Juan's real cryptic, weird messages, sometimes they threw me for a loop. Sometimes I'm reading, I'm like, guys, what is he even saying? He talking about? Like, I know what all these words mean individually, but when you put them together, they don't make any sense. But as people said before, having the team around you to help you filter that was very, very helpful. And we learned that in youth ministry, working on it with our core teams or with like our faith formation team or with the DRE or whatever, having people around you that can give you a fresh perspective and a different set of eyes and read it in a different way based on their own experiences that don't reflect yours can be very beneficial because you don't read it with a clouded vision. When I read Miss Green's first letter, I wanted to throw my phone out the window because I've experienced this and different levels from different people. But I've experienced this, and not even just working for the church, like just in general, like as a human being. There are people that come in and they have their own agenda and they try to take you and put you into their agenda box, and then they want you to fit it. And if you don't fit it, what's your problem? Why are you being so difficult? Why are you being a selfish person? You're not a team player, blah, 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 blah. And so to have a team around that's like, hold up, I think this is what's happening, and Juan's asking us to do X, Y, and Z. And also remember, this isn't a real person. Like, this is not a real person. Like, you can't go find her and like tell her what you think. Just remember, this is not a real scenario. So for me, a lot of those scenarios, I actually had to put away my past experiences to be able to deal with it with a very clear head, which I think has served me well. And I hope to be able to do that in the future when things happen that are, like you said, Bertha, like very triggering of things that have happened in the past, or people with similar personalities or whatever that can really cloud your focus and cloud your vision and not allow you to really move forward, because you get stuck in feelings and you get stuck in, well, what do they mean by that? And you get stuck in all the different attitudes when, feelings aren't facts, they're feelings, and we have to focus on those things. So doing those different exercises and being presented with those scenarios allowed me to focus on that and actually to learn to become better at that and kind of get a new skill And the team was very, very beneficial and very helpful with me, because otherwise I would have tried to find Miss Green. Even though she didn't exist. It was really, Joey was the one. I told that everybody earlier in the group, like we were like starting to spiral with like this focus on Miss Green and what she was asking us to do and like the frustration everybody had. And Joey's like, hey, guys, bring it back. Just bring it back. We need somebody who does that. And for us, Joey did that. And it was clutch. It was key. So yeah, that's my take on the different scenarios that Juan put us through. They're very real, but for me, they allowed me to put them away, my own experiences, to experience them in a new way and have a new way to deal with them moving forward.
Awesome. And Frances?
Yeah, like she was saying, the scenarios brought you to a place where, like, you know, I don't like conflict. I'm being honest with you guys. I don't like conflict, you know what I'm saying? So, but what's nice about it is that the group was saying to me, we're here for you. This is a team effort. We're going to get through this scenario. We were very planful, mindful. And not only that, before the scenario, we got a class, and the class gave us like little videos, little clips that John used to help us, and then Natalie with her 6 page of notes will like tell us like 3 or 4 or 5, 6. She would say, oh no, remember what this said? Or Joey would say, oh, remember this? Iris would say this, Martha would say this. So it kind of like, the scenarios were like scary. I'm not gonna lie. I'm like, okay, what's gonna happen? What's going on? Is somebody gonna stalk us? We don't know. But anyway, it's something that we got together in these scenarios, and it brought like it. We were able to work together, and like Natalie was saying, what Joey was doing was that he brought us back down, and that's something that we need, because I said I need them as much as they need me. Every one of us is a piece. Is a raindrop in a big ocean. We all need each other, you know. And these scenarios not only brought understanding, help us to figure out like how can we get through this. And then even with the letters, which I was amazed how this group did it. This group says, how about we just write a letter to Miss Green and say we thank you, but no thank you. You know what I'm saying? And not only that, we were able to talk to our own and say, no, let's email the pastor, and let's also email her, so they both getting the same letter that we're giving it. And I think, like Juan was saying, communication is the key to all this. Like, you have to be constant in communication. With this group, we was in constant communication. And not only that, I know I'm going on a tangent, but Natalie will give, and also Joe's, they gave us like little like reflections here and there about our Transfiguration Church, which also helped us, and which also that we prayed to, Saint Peter, whoever was in the Transfiguration, and we were able to use that as well as an inspiration through the scenarios. So, go Jesus. But yeah.
That was a question I was dying to ask you guys, because I know that sometimes, especially when you've gone through so much, whether it's personally or at a ministry level, professionally, there could be certain scenarios that are very triggering, that when you haven't healed from those wounds, that can definitely put you real quick in a situation or in a headspace where it could go not left, not right, but it's like, it comes out emoji, but not for good reasons. But that's the beauty also of having this safe space to kind of go through that. Because I think that from listening to what everybody's reactions were, it kind of reminded you, oh yeah, I have gone through this. Oh yeah, I am that person. Or, oh yeah, this has happened to me. And I think that one of the things I've learned from our teenagers is that when we don't heal from things, we keep repeating the same behaviors in different situations. So it's, it's like, it's a different dress, but it's the same thing. And for me, like reading like the things that Juan had prepared for you, I'm like, this dude one day is going to be killed. Like, one of these people is going to snap, and they're going to send him, like probably a piece of pie laced with who knows what, because they can't come over. So I'd probably send them a cheeseburger or something with like lace with you know what. But you know, it's so real though, and it brings you into these moments. And I think that these are the moments that God uses to kind of touch on those wounds and say, you know, I want you to grow and I want you to do this, but I also want you to see what can trip you. And listening to you guys talk about Miss Green, I can still see like, you know, nostrils flaring, and you know, I can definitely picture Martha going, you know, like, let me tell you, I mean, but that's the beauty that everybody says, like, I felt safe. I felt that I had my team with me. I felt like I was being held up by my team, that my team was bringing me back to, like Natalie said, just like, wait a minute, she's not real. It's not real. It's just a drill. But we need that. And I think that for those of you that are listening or watching, being part of a group, we are meant to be a community. We are meant to be a community of saints on this earth. And we just listening to you guys and seeing even just the tones of this Miss Green, but also giving each other praise of how you guys held each other up. That was great. So I think
and if I can add something else to that, Bertha, I think that this is especially important for our youth, because our youth, especially, you know, because of the ages that they're in, they like to feel that they're in a community. They like to feel each other backed up, you know, and
right.
when we as a team can back each other up, they not just see it, but they sense it. They sense it and they learn it. And then they, in turn, also feel safe. And it enables them to ask questions or to raise concerns, even to speak up about, you know, things that they might not otherwise do, you know, in other realms or in other communities. So I think it's especially important in what we do with the work with the youth.
And I think Iris, and this is how I know like the spirit is working, because you actually did a great opening to the question that I wanted to ask next, and it's the importance of this work. And how do you think, after now going through these 5 weeks of emails and texts and all this kind of stuff, how do you see the work of Renew Your Vision as an important component in building not only youth ministry, but just parish life? And would you recommend this experience to other leaders that you know?
100%. 100%. I see so much value in it, and you know, I'll be speaking about it. And yeah, there is great value in it, and there's great learning. There's a great opportunity to bring it to our parishes and our spaces.
Anyone else?
I think for me, like, I don't know. I read Renewing the Vision a while ago, and then I promptly forgot about it, as you do. But honestly, but like I think it's very easy for us to take a document, look at it, read it, but not necessarily know how to put it into practical application, not necessarily know how to come up with actionable items that, you know, okay, this is a great chapter, but how do I do this in my church? How do I approach my pastor about this? Or how do I do this in my workplace? Or, you know, how can I use this? For me, the way that Juan did the entire class, that was what like kept me here. And that's, I think, too, what is fueling my like now like imagination and creativity and like the desire to try to figure out, okay, this was a good experience. How can I now take this and apply it to these different areas of my life, and apply it to these different ministries where I work. So for me personally, the way that Juan did the class and the way that he actually brought the document to life through the different scenarios and through the way that we work together and explaining things, showing us video clips. I mean, a lot of people are visual learners. Showing us video clips and giving us, images to look at, or like songs to listen to, or other things like that. That was also very key in actually helping to understand the document and understand, okay, how do I do this? I can look at this and I can read it and I can say, okay, this is a good idea, but where do I start? How do I begin? What am I supposed to do? But the way that he did it really allowed us, I think, to have these like building blocks where we kind of learned one thing and then we put it into effect. And then we learned another thing and then we did something with that. And that, I think, was even more beneficial than the document itself. I mean, the document itself is the foundation this whole thing is built upon, and it's very, very important. But in a personal way, that was more beneficial for me in gaining new skills and in learning and in broadening my horizons and opening my mind and, kind of trying to have a different perspective on these different things. And so I wish if I was a first year youth minister, I would tell myself to take this course. Mm-hmm. I would tell myself to do this because I walked into my first parish where I was a youth minister and they went, "Welcome to your first day. Here's your desk and your computer.
Get to
do
it."
Youth ministry." And I was like,
yeah.
What is that? Like, well, I didn't grow up with youth ministry. I didn't have a youth group that I attended. I didn't know anything about it. And so I didn't actually know what to do at first. So I was just trying to figure out, like, well, I think I Googled, what do youth ministers do? Like trying to figure out, like, what am I supposed to do? Like, I know my overarching, goal. I know what I'm supposed to do in a very broad general sense. What am I supposed to do on a day-to-day basis? What does this look like? What does ministry look like? And it looks very different than I think a lot of people think. And so when we started this course, and Juan's showing us all these different facets of what ministry looks like, and how youth ministry is literally like, it connects everything, because like if the family's at the center, then youth ministry needs to be a part of that, because it connects everything. The families connect everything in our parishes, and the ministries we provide to those families need to connect, and everything goes out from there. So just the Juan's whole operation of doing Renew Your Vision was just, it was wonderful. And I would recommend it to someone who was looking for, I don't know, how to be a youth minister 101. And it's literally a crash course, because you have to plan an event and you have to figure out promotions and you have to deal with the penster and you have to deal with people who you don't want to deal with. And you have to figure out a team, and it's a crash course, and I think it's very beneficial.
Thank you. One last person.
Yeah, so I feel like when this pandemic started, I started to see the weaknesses within the parish and communities, right? Because everyone was like, what are we going to do? Are we going to do online masses? How are we going to continue religious education courses? Some of our catechists don't know how to use computers or Zoom or this. What are the programs that are we going to do now? And it was kind of like, a whirlwind of events, and no one really expected this to happen, right? And I feel like, if this course was the main course for like many of the parishes, it would have been a lot easier to go through it. And I feel like, taking it now, and implementing it within our parishes and our communities, I feel like everyone would have a bit of a comfort level when it comes to, knowing what to do and having a solid foundation of communication and within the groups and leadership, and having that that mission statement, that goal that each parish has, and using their saints of their parish to revolve around that. And like Natalie said, I feel like it's definitely something needed. Yes, for youth ministers, I feel like it's needed for, I could use this, in a kitchen. I could use this anywhere, right? And it's amazing how Juan came up with these scenarios to make it real. Like I'm bringing up Miss Green again, I'm sorry, but we all have a Miss Green, even outside of the church, sometimes even in our workplace. Sometimes there's multiple Miss Greens in our workplace. You know what I mean? And it's like, how to deal with that. It's hard to Google how to deal with the Miss Green. You know what I mean? Especially for free. If you want to go to a therapist, yes, you can go to a therapist and talk it over. Or maybe you have a coworker you can speak to. But yeah, renewing the vision is definitely something that should be in every parish, right? And I'm already like, thinking in my mind, I hope there's probably some of my youth listening to this, thinking in my mind how to use the youth to bring the community together. Like we have a bunch of restaurants and grocery stores that we could involve in the church and help each other out. And, it's something amazing, and it's crazy that a lot of people don't use it, and I think that because of what's happening now, it's the greatest time to come together and be united, within our churches. And it honestly doesn't matter which religious background you have, whether you're Muslim, whatever, like you could use this, right? And it's an amazing program, and it's still relevant today. And I think it's still going to be relevant, like Martha said, 2,000 years from now.
And that's and I already warned Juan that I was gonna bring him on because I definitely want to grill him, just for sport. But I definitely want to just echo a little bit of what you guys said. I call it the civilian job. My civilian job, I work at a college, and I would not be able to do what I've done for years, and I would have not been able to kind of overcome some of those obstacles if it wasn't because of the skills that I learned in ministry. And that's something that I try to even impart on my confirmation kids, that it's not just about a church thing, but these are life skills that you learn. And, I think that sometimes we get so much into compartmentalizing everything, like, well, this is for church, this is for work, this is for family, when God is always calling us just to be completely 100% authentic everywhere, with everyone. And I think that the Renew Your Vision course, and I've seen many iterations of it throughout the years, and it's just, I feel like it keeps getting better and better and more relevant every year. I think that one of the things that it reminds us is that there's multiple ways to look at the same thing. For some people, youth ministry is just a youth group, but for others, it's a combination of youth group and altar servers and children's choir, and maybe there might be a children's rosary group, or the Daughters of Mary. I mean, there's so many different groups out there. And I think one of the things that Natalie said is that it all starts with family. And I think we know that family, which looks many ways now, it's not just the typical thing that we think it is. Family looks very different now for our children. It could be a one-parent home. It could be grandparents. It could be foster parents. It could be no parents. It could be just a system. And I've seen that. And I think that for us, we are meant to also model what a family is. And just seeing you guys express yourselves and piggyback and all that kind of stuff, you are modeling in many ways that image of family. And this is where I now want to drag Juan into this, your torturer, your tormentor, the one that called me that last minute phone call at night. And I have to say this, I'm always like, I'm always going like this whenever he picks up the phone after 9 o'clock, because I know that's when the crazy ideas and the interesting invitations happen. And I'm always in the back going like, because it's just, dude, call somebody at their decent hour, right? But Juan, I wanted to ask you, what was your inspiration for Miss Green, the infamous Miss Green? I think that Miss Green had a big impact on your group this year. So I want to hear more about what was your inspiration on Miss Green? And 2, what is your hope for this group now that they have wrapped up this experience of renewing your vision? We can't hear you.
Unmute.
Unmute.
Whoa. Okay. Miss Green was a character that I created based upon certain images of youth leadership or ministry leadership that had a way of controlling a certain idea. One of the things that I've noticed is that I've met several pastors or spoke with people or leadership, and they always came around to this common theme that they wouldn't say it out loud, but they would say it in a way like meaning it or like symbolically talking about it, but they didn't have a purpose or a mission. And it hurt because folks can come from outside, or folks that are within the parish that have a strong charism would take away vocations from a parish. And I mean that. I was in a parish where I felt that so many people's ideas from outside mattered most than the ideas that were within the community, yet they kept on talking about the topic of we need to work together, we need to unify, we need to share our gifts and talents. But they never, ever, ever gave confidence to the person who was in their midst. Mm-hmm. You had to be pretty, you had to be good looking, guapo, you had to have a good sense of what you were. There was always an excuse on a person that they could not become awesome in what they did because they didn't fit the criteria, they didn't fit the formula. Ms. Green plays upon, even though she's a fake character, she plays upon our weaknesses. So I use Ms. Green as an idea to push you all to do something that you never thought you could do. And some of you have done it, probably didn't do it as best as possible, maybe not have seen the results of it or the fruits of it, but you probably given up because you've done it and they look down on you because of it. I mean, your response was because they looked down on you. And so you didn't do it again, or you didn't believe it would work. My experience in youth ministry, in whatever youth ministry or in work or whatever, is that if it doesn't work, throw it out. And I felt, no, that doesn't work for me anymore. Because what works is what I believe in. I will make it work. And I think that's the gift of that God has given to us in confirmation, the gift of perseverance, the gift of patience, the gift of courage to continuously, and the gift of faith and hope that what you believe in. Ms. Green drew that out of you. She wasn't the enemy. Nobody is the enemy. She just was in a parish that that didn't give her a mission. And so when you all work together in that mission, in Transfiguration, even though it was fake, like I said as a joke, Father Nestor, if he's still listening, Father Nestor thought that this was a real thing, that you were actually working on a church called Transfiguration. And I told him, no, this is a fantasy. This is not even true. And he said, yo, but it was like real. It was so real. Like I thought the characters were real. And I said, no, they weren't real. Father Ernesto Gomez is not a real. If there's a Father Ernesto Gomez and pops in, it's not him. It's just a name. It's just a name. And I gave an idea, a character. I made a character out of him. So Miss Green was the same thing. She was just there for the purpose of pushing you to the limit. And and that's exactly what God does. He puts someone there to test you, as I showed you the video of the katana, the constant hammering of the katana. It takes 1,000 times of hammering until that sword becomes beautiful, and then shining it to its mirror image is shown, as you could see it and it could shine. But the most beautiful part about the sword is that the details in the art, where someone took time to work on it. And that's what you do. You build something, you take time to work on it. You let it shine, you let it show people that it's worth it. You know, these craftsmen or these people that I showed you on videos were specifically just to inspire you to look at your gifts and talents, your future. Everybody has somebody there to tell us that we're not worth it. And I believe that that's where God actually challenges you, because you've been asking the questions or praying to God and saying, God, what do you want me to do? They're telling me I'm not worth it. And then he says, in deep down inside, he's answering your questions in your heart, the struggles that you're having, and saying, I'm giving you this so that you can have an exercise. But you keep saying no. You keep saying no. And so Ms. Green was that. She was not no one's enemy. She was just an instrument to push you to your potential and beyond your imagination of that potential. And what I mean by that, I mean that you can take this, as Joseph was talking about, and use it in your talents, your gifts, your family life, your work, anything. Things could work. So to answer your question, she is the one that I spoke about, that when a strong charismatic leader comes into a group and you don't have a plan, you don't have a mission, you don't have a structure, they come into your group, take your group and take it to a different direction. And what I call them is vocation hogs. They just came in to take your money. And that's constantly happening in our churches, not only in the ministry level, but in every church, where, guys, farm in your own place. If people want to make a decision, they can make a decision. But we need to better ourselves in our missionary work. And that's the key. That's what Ms. Green was. She was testing our missionary work. Was it worth it? And could you prove it to others? That's my answer to you, Bertha. Your second question, what was that?
Well, I think I'm going to get to the second question again in a little while, but...
Well, I didn't finish the other part. What did you say? I forgot what it was.
I should have finished the other. You see?
Oh, I'm sorry. No. You know, just asking.
I just want to actually share this thought, because as you were talking, and I remember something that Martha had said, that it's something that I personally sort of struggle with a lot, especially as a confirmation teacher, because I see my kids and I fall in love with my kids for 2 years and I get very overly involved with them, and then they disappear, right? And I'm left sort of like, okay, what just happened? Like, what did I do wrong? But one of the things that Juan said that I think that reminded me of something that Martha had mentioned, and it just kind of brings everything together, is this idea that, you know, Ms. Green is that image of this very talented, charming, and kind of like can-do person with a plan, right? And I think that with our youth, it's one of the things that is actually driving them away from us. And it's that charm and that sort of like attractiveness of the feeling, you know, well, I don't feel what they're saying to me, so this is not my thing. But yet these other places and these other things that all lives within the phone or the friends is more charming because it offers a false sense of freedom. And I think that one of the things that we want to remind each other of, especially for those that have been told that, you know, we're not enough, or we're not, you know, whatever that we don't fit in, whatever mold people have of who a youth minister or catechist or lector or whatever a server should be, is that, you know, as Proverbs, you know, that charm is very deceptive. And at the end of the day, and it has happened to even all of us here, I think it's in different ways. God never ceases to call us back, and to kind of push us to be more than what we think or feel, most importantly, we can be. And that's a very tough pill to swallow, because I know that even listening to how you guys felt about Miss Green, it definitely reminds me of my own Miss Greens. So we all have them. We all have those Miss Greens in our lives. I think we've all said that, you know, to death. But I think it's more about reminding ourselves also that there's going to be a lot of charms and a lot of attractions that will even make us feel that we're not doing enough, that we can, how can I compete with the world? How can I compete with, you know, Miss Green and all her cuteness? But I think that the word that just came to my heart as Juan was talking is that God didn't call us to compete. God called us to just be ourselves and to stay focused on the truth. Because at the end of the day, you know, beauty fades, but the truth still stands. And that's where I wanted to then go into that second question, Juan. After, you know, you have put these guys through all kinds of scenarios and having them plan and meet and all this kind of stuff, what is your hope for them now that they have wrapped up this cycle of renewing the vision?
There's a lot of things I'd like to do. I heard through the grapevine that they were inspired to bringing this as a team to different churches. I don't know if that's true, but I pray that you know what you're saying.
I see it coming.
Because it's still, you know, like I said, it's not believed. And I don't want people to take something where it's going to be like, oh, well, you know, it's because of John. They're giving all the John the support. I don't want to hear that, because anyone who has a product that's offering it, they're going to get support from it. It's just a matter of, does it make sense to you? I'm not offering any product. That's I'm offering the bishop's interpretation. I'm offering an interpretation of what the bishops are trying to tell us about how to do youth ministry. That's all. And what I'm trying to say to people is, stop creating a box for everybody to do ministry, because it's not going to be your formula. It has to be free. So long as the only patterns that need to be in there is that it's faithfulness to Christ and his church. And that's all I'm saying. So my expectations is that you who created the templates for your fantasy church Transfiguration, can you apply it in your ministry? Can you apply it in your family life? Can you apply it in your organizational structure? Can you apply it to your youth group? Can you apply it in your youth group creating a future youth ministry? Because it's not for me. I'm not going to get anything out of this. It's your church. Because our bishops are asking us, who amongst you is called to the vocation of the priesthood? Who amongst you is called to be married? Who amongst you is called to be a catechist, a lector, and all these other different vocations? And the more you keep on wasting time, 5 years to 10 years to 15 years pass by, and a church will close. You can't get angry. That's the point. So I'm speaking from a lay perspective, a laity seeing it. You know, where I've used renewing the vision of the bishops, and had nothing and gained so much from it. And what I mean by that is knowledge, experience, and all that other stuff. And most especially resources that I would never have done. I went out like a beggar, like St. Francis, asking, yo, we need this, we need this, we need this, we need this, we need this. And I didn't care if you made fun of me or laughed, but I got it, even if it was old, and it worked, and it survived. And so what Renewing the Vision taught me was to just go beyond your fears. My expectations for you is break from the habit of the no-nos. Listen to your Lord who loves you. If you ever saw the movie The Moneyball, what was the one thing that in the first scene when they're talking, when Brad Pitt's talking to the rest of the baseball team, he says we're selling our organs. We're like organ donors to different teams. And he said, yeah, we're making them happy. But what he's trying to say is that it's killing us. There's nothing that's working. So we're selling ourselves to other people for the benefit of us dying. Now, that's sacrifice, because that's what Jesus did for us. But not that way. Not that way at all. He still had life in abundance to give and inspire. So we have to do the same thing. We have life to give and to inspire. And so my expectations, again, inspire. If this works for you, put it to the test. You created something fantastic. Now test it. That's what I wanted you to do. The last but not least is to critique it. And I heard so much. I didn't want to come in. I didn't want you to see my face until Bertha said, I need to terrorize John. Okay, I jumped on. And then that was it. I heard what you said, and I'm grateful, humbled by it. But it wasn't about me. It was about, we have no choice but to move forward in creating and helping our parishes grow. And that's all I'm asking you. So it's not about me. It's about Jesus calling us. And I think we have to act now.
Can I say something real quick, Juan?
Yeah, go on. Who's this, Iris?
Francis.
Francis.
Okay.
Francis, yeah. No, I just want to say that Renewing Vision is practical, and it's something that can be used. I mean, to be honest, really sincere and honest with you, is like, it opened my eyes to see, like, wow, some of the simplest things that you could do in ministry, like, putting the chairs away, that causes skill development. That causes, like, how can we really, really, really not try to, be together as a community, as a whole church, not like you has mentioned, which I, with all the soul of my heart, I feel it. Like, you don't want to say, oh, just be with the Cusillistas, just be with this people, just be with that. No, we could grow together, and we could use their gifts and then develop our gifts and then use it together to make even better. I just feel like it's so practical and so real. It's nothing that is coming out of nowhere. It's something, those tools can be used, not just to teach our kids. First and foremost, God is the first, but you giving them the skills that they need and vocations that we need. That's something that, I'm sorry if I'm screaming. I feel like I'm screaming.
Go anyway. For it.
But I'm just saying that, it's something, and it, like you said, I'm not trying to sugarcoat it. I'm being real, people out there on Facebook, whoever's there, pastors, priests, whoever you are out there. This is a tool that you can use. Like, it opened me up, even for my own parish. Like, I think about St. Francis de Chantal. I would never have thought to really, like, do a deep like study on the saint, right? Because I'm like, oh, that's my church. Yeah, it looks pretty. That's St. Francis de Chantal. But now I look at her and I look at that saint a little different. Why? Because of this. because of what I've learned. And not only that, like the skills that we could teach our children that could help them in the future. Like you said, Juan, in one of your youth members, you asked them to make a schedule or do something like that they had to go to the pizzeria, do all this. That's something they could use for accounting if they want to be an accountant one day. Or just,
they had to negotiate.
Yeah.
They had to negotiate.
So something that this is really powerful tool is believing in it. And like you always said to us, you have to believe in what you're doing here. You have to have that. You have to believe that in your heart that you want Transfiguration to be up here. But that's where you have to aim up there, you know? So something that, I'm sorry, keep going. But our mission, just in case everybody wants to know, our group was called LIT. Whoop, whoop. Love,
be lit.
Love, inspiration, truth, and evangelization. Sorry, I can't even speak. Okay, and then what I want to tell you, our mission was being light, being love, and being hope for change. I was like, Santo, that was hot. I'm not gonna lie. We on fire.
We are.
And listen, that's the point. The point is that, you know, you guys take these experiences and don't just chuck it to like, oh yeah, that was amazing, and yeah, okay. I mean, you know, yeah, we read these documents like Natalie said, and we kind of like forget about them, or like, oh yeah, I remember reading that, but nothing is done with it, right? And I think that one of the things that Juan and I have always talked about, especially when we go out to teach, is that, you know, don't just take it and just kind of be like, this was great, and then just kind of keep it moving, but take it and let it transform you, let it transfigure you, let it be the one thing that can kind of renew you, like, you know, if that was what attracted you. But don't just let it be just another thing that you just went through, you know, another retreat or another talk or another course. Let it be the one thing that God maybe is using right now at this moment to light you on fire and just kind of like, let's do this. Because at the end of the day, there's a lot of talkers. There's a lot of talkers. Everybody talks about a plan. Everybody is very easy to point the finger at what the problem is and use the catchy phrases about, you know, children are the present, not the future. But what are we doing? You know, how are we living that message? How are we living that message 24/7? Because one of the things that I know I always get flack is that I always tell, you know, a lot of the parents, you can't expect your kids to be eating their vegetables if you're not eating them, right? You can't expect your children to follow a Christ that you yourself do not even know, right? And it's not because of just you wanted to portray the holy, but it's because you want to be holy. You're meant to be holy. And even when your kids may not follow the path that you want for them, whether it's your youth ministry kids or your biological kids, I have both. I have a lot of kids, and a lot of them have not followed the path that I hope for them and that I see for them. But at the end of the day, they also know that they can always come back home.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And why do they know that? Not because they read it in a book, not because I taught it in a lesson, but it's because I try to live that too. You know, and we always have to remind ourselves that we were all created for a purpose. We all have a mission. Each of us were given these sets of gifts and talents, and we just need to live it, not just talk about it, but be about it. Live it in such a way that it just comes off your pores. And even when you are not your best, even when you are not in your best behavior, even when your thoughts get the best out of you, you also remember you can come back home. You can always come back to being in the path of being the person that God created you to be. And I think that with that said,
hold on, I got something. Somebody wrote something, and I want to answer it from a renewing the vision perspective. So somebody was speaking on the issue of pro-life, And I think it's a great topic to talk about. It's not the area where we need to be talking about it here, because again, it's about youth ministry. But I want to take advantage of the topic of renew your vision. The question was based on, again, pro-life. And so I'm answering Christian Perez's perspective. He spoke about the evil of what abortion can do and is doing. He spoke about voting. Again, there are some things as Christians I cannot fully control. I wish I can stop with the, like Thanos, and snap my finger and abortion ends. It's not going to happen. You can fight as much as you want. You can fight till you're bleeding through your ears and your nose just to stop abortion. The truth of the matter is that some of our parishes are not prepared to end it. Here's why. In a discussion in DHT, in my profile, which Bertha likes to joke around and say that I'm the stirrer of problems, the stirrer of many things. And I do that because I want to hear conversation. I want to hear people talking, getting angry. Using Renewing the Vision, I asked a question to a girl who had probably experienced some situation where she believed that abortion was necessary. And in asking her the question, I said, if we were to create something that a home base which had resources to develop finances or whatever it is, skills, to have clothing, resources, or whatever. If we ever had something in our parish, do you think that we could stop abortion in that area? And she, being a pro-choicer, said yes. I said, good, because I'm going to work on that. Here's why I said that. So I'm saying this to you, Christian. You asked a question about, or you're talking about pro-life. Well, we need people like you. If you see that there's an issue, then I would suggest to you to go to your parish and find out what does your parish offer when it comes to the issue of pro-life. And I'm talking about every area, not just the issue of saving a baby. We're talking about saving mom and dad. We're saying saving children from drug violence and and gangs and everything, saving elderly and taking care of them, keeping an eye on them when they're suffering and they're sick, that you can keep people informed in the parish, including the pastor, so that there be a pastoral care for all. This is pro-life. This is struggling in our parishes. Sometimes when you speak to a priest, the priest says, oh, everything's fine. Yeah, how fine? How fine? What, the number of funerals because you get the money? Or I'm just being honest about it. How is it fine? Because when you're servicing your people, there's a whole slew of people in that boundary. So my first thing is, how are you serving your boundary? Does your church serve that boundary correctly? Are you piggybacking off of another group that's doing pro-life? Why can't your parish be that center of pro-life in the community? So I challenge you to actually rethink it with Renewing the Vision. Renewing the Vision gives you options and gives you ideas to communicate, to develop, and to foster and to grow it. And so this would be a great opportunity. If you want to take the class, you're welcome to take the class, but I will encourage you, go back to your parish, find out what is your parish doing when it comes to this area of pro-life. Don't complain if the people are voting for some representative. That's not, there's nothing you're gonna do about it, because they don't see the potential of what it is to be pro-life. And many people are uncatechized or don't know those things. So we need people like you to teach them why. But you have to be honest. What resources can you offer in your community if you have none? So develop it, and then people will start seeing it. Then people will start believing it. Then people will start understanding, oh, we need to do something for our people. Because that's not what's happening. And in some places it is happening, it's becoming organizational, where, oh, you come here, boom, take a list, sit down, we'll have a conversation, and then we'll do our best to get you. If we don't, that's fine, blah, 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 they're gone. End of story. I've been to a group where a person's been asking for rent money. That's a pro-life issue because they can't pay for rent. Now, whatever circumstances they have, whatever mistakes they have, they need help. They don't want to get thrown out. You know how many I've reached out to Catholic groups and they cannot give? Yet, for some reason, they have money? I don't get that. And it's because of this organization. I'm just saying the truth. So when I asked my group here, the group here, to do create a youth ministry, a youth group from scratch, they had to create something with a mission plan so they can learn from the steps that they took to learn other steps. You need to do the same thing. Our parishes need to do the same thing. We need to get back to basics and walk in creating step-by-step ways to make it better. But if we just do things, oh, we need pro-life, and then throw everybody together, and then in 2 years to 3 years, it's going to fall apart. You need something sustainable. There has to be purpose, and mission gives purpose. Purpose will keep the group there for long years, supporting the needs of the people. This is where we need help in. This is what's going on with youth ministry. So I encourage you to do that. I'm sorry for taking a long time to explain that, but I just wanted to share that with you. If anybody has any thoughts, they could jump in and have a conversation and share that with Christian. But I hope, Christian, if you get involved, please, we would love for you to be involved in this. All right. Any other thoughts?
I think many people may understand why pro-life is a big deal for me.
Yeah.
Education is very important, because people think pro-life and immediately jump to abortion. Yeah. However, pro-life is so much more than abortion. Pro-life is so much more than being pro-birth. It's also caring for, like Juan said, about the elderly. It's literally from cradle to the grave. Mm-hmm. Not even cradle to the grave, conception to the grave. And I think that, for those that are very quick to sort of jump on this bandwagon of like, oh, well, we need to do this pro-life. Well, first we need to understand what does it mean to be pro-life? What does the church teach about being pro-life? Do you understand that pro-life is also involved and is part of a bigger thing that is called social justice, the Catholic teaching of social justice? Do you understand what that means? And are you able to not just simply point a finger and say, oh, well, the church is not doing enough, but hey, you're the church too. I'm the church. We're all the church. What are we doing? And that's part of what renewing the vision is. Renewing the vision is not just about, oh, let me just put a youth group together and call it a day and check off that box. It's understanding, well, what is youth ministry? What does it mean? Where, developmentally speaking, where is that child from this age to this age, and then from this age to this age? Do you understand that? So when we talk about pro-life, we can't just talk about abortion without talking about, for example, what is leading these communities to abortion? What are the socioeconomic factors that are leading people to actually make this decision? And what are the educational things that we're doing to educate not only the parents, but also the teenagers and also the children?
Yeah.
Are we talking about sex enough?
And I think it's
talking about it in a way that it's not like, oh my gosh, it's sex. No, are you talking about sex? Are you talking about the human dignity of life? Are you talking about, for example, that it's not just, oh, well, it's okay. It's abortion is not okay for them, but hey, it's okay for us because I don't want people to deal with what are they going to say. Those are the skeleton in the closet that a lot of our communities, a lot of our families are dealing with. Yeah. And we can't just say that I'm pro-life, but yet when the baby is born, where are you at? Where's the pro-life movement when that child is born? We have to not just tell a woman abortion is murder. Yes, it is murder, but also why life? And how am I prepared to support you through that life? through that transition of you carrying that child, of you going through the labor pains of that child, of you making the decision that maybe you're not prepared to raise a child, but you're going to give it up for adoption. And what does that do to a woman psychologically as well? How are you prepared to stand by that person, pray for that person, pray with that person, and be prepared to also stand for that person when the fallout comes, when everything has gone away and there's this person with this child? And are you willing to welcome home the person that has made the decision to do that? So those are things that, not just about pro-life, but also about youth ministry, that we need to be remembering. And that's what Renewing the Vision is all about. It's about the bishops telling us this is a beautiful blueprint. Go ahead, take it, but get educated, and don't just stay at just one level, but keep pushing yourself, which is something that Juan mentioned. So I know I kind of went off the rails a little bit, but
No. Don't worry about that.
I just think that, when it comes to youth ministry and when it comes to just people pointing fingers at the church should do this. Well, true, the church should do a lot of things. But guess what? We're the church. So we should do a lot of things. You're muted. You're still muted, man.
Unmute. Okay, that was my daughter. She shut me up. She said, "Dad, you're talking too much." But you should have done that with Mom. No, I'm joking. Anyway, guys, we want to call it a wrap right now. I think that we had a blast. We still got more work to do. Would anybody, where do you want to see this going next? Do you want to continue on studying? It's up to you.
I would definitely be up for it, and
okay.
Also bring in.
Me too.
And also bring in, other people and just, talk to them about it, to join and to encourage them also to, take it to your parishes and put it into practice, because it has a lot of value. And like I said before, I don't think there's ever such a thing as, I've learned too much.
I agree with you. So stay tuned for more. Part 2 of Renew Your Vision. And maybe we'll challenge, maybe you'll be the next ones to lead the discussions for the new bucks. We'll talk about that. So as of tonight, I thank you for saying yes to this first gathering. Berta, you're amazing. Thank you for the interview, but you're closing this. I'm going to step back. So I know you got a final prayer, baby girl. So I'm going to let you do that. And I want to just, again, we will touch base again for our next sessions. Just pray for me and pray for the next couple of people. I do ask you all that if you can, if anybody if you want to recommend, I'm looking for one guest out of your group. So five that take in Renew Your Vision. Pick one person that you think will benefit. And we should be getting started in about 2 to 3 weeks. We're going to do another course for the first year. For you might be the challengers of the course. So we'll see how that works. Okay? So we'll talk more about that in detail. So I expect giving one person out of your group, or one person you know. It doesn't matter if they're in youth ministry, or if they have an interest in working with young people. Get them involved. And now, I leave you all with my beloved wife, and I'll join you in prayer.
Thank you, Juan.
You're welcome.
In being that your parish was Transfiguration, I found these beautiful intercessions that were listed in on the on Transfiguration Day at the feast from the Magnificat. So I saw it and I thought they were so beautiful that I think it would be fitting for us to end tonight with that. So we first of all start in the name of the Father, of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit. Amen.
Amen.
To our transfigured Lord, we pray, be our light, Lord. In your victory, we trust in you, O Lord. Reign over the darkness of sin and death. Be our light,
Be
O
our light, Lord.
In your glory, we honor you, O Lord. Be present in the darkness that surrounds those who suffer. Be our light,
Lord.
O Lord. In your majesty, we praise you, O Lord. Reveal your power in the lives of those who are powerless. Be our light.
Be our light, O Lord.
In your splendor, we glorify you, O Lord. Shine forever upon those who have died.
Be our
Our light,
light,
O Lord. For our personal intentions, O Lord, we place them in your hands, and we ask for your guidance and your light and your courage. That you, our transfigured Lord, may guide our steps every day, every moment, especially in darkness. To you we pray, be our light.
Be our light, Lord.
And we say the words that you have taught us. Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven.
Give us
this
today
our
our daily bread. Forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us.
Lead us
Lead
not
us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil.
Amen.
Amen.
May the God of infinite goodness scatter the darkness of sin and brighten our hearts with holiness. Amen.
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 In the name of the Father.
Peace. Oh, sorry.
Be lit and be safe, y'all.
Be lit.
Be
Peace, love, and
lit.
apple juice, like Joey said.
Peace, love, and apple juice. Peace,
Be
love,
lit.
and
I love
apple
you
juice.
guys. Thank you for
Love
having
you
me.
too.
We'll talk
Thank you
soon.
for everything.